Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright star through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the members of the class of 2020, our graduating class. While we all wish a more traditional celebration of your accomplishments could be taking place, it is still an honor to address you and acknowledge you on this very special occasion. I also want to thank your families, not only because they have supported and encouraged you during your years of school, but because they made a choice to have you attend a CREC school. At CREC, we take our responsibility to provide a high-quality education in a diverse and a dynamic setting as a sacred trust. I certainly hope that we have lived up to that trust, the trust that you placed in us. As an organization, CREC has identified core values. These are core values that provide a foundation for what we expect of ourselves and describe a vision for the qualities we hope to foster in our students, the young women and the young men who we hope are equipped to be lifelong learners and global citizens that we need as a society to help shape our future. Our core values are to embrace collaboration, expect excellence, demand equity, and act with courage. To embrace collaboration, you must be both confident and humble. Confident enough to know that your contributions and your perspectives are valuable, yet humble enough to acknowledge that other people have skills and knowledge that you may lack. Think of it this way. Sugar on its own is pretty good. But when you put that sugar together with flour, butter, baking powder, and eggs, you get a cake. Each ingredient has a vital and important role that leads ultimately to something better when it stands together than when it stands alone. Expecting excellence of yourself and others, you will find often in life that people will rise or fall in meeting your expectations. Assume the best in others, and you will get their best. Push yourself to be excellent, and you will live your dreams. Demanding equity. Remember, you have a voice, and we hope you will use that voice to demand equity in your world. If you experience injustice, if you see injustice, speak out. Make change. This is your world. Make it into a place where everyone can find happiness and success, no matter their background or their circumstance. Strive for an equitable society so that where a person ends does not depend on where they start. And finally, act with courage. You will experience times in your life where you will feel uncertain, when you are unsure of what to do. Do not let that uncertainty stop you from moving forward. Act with courage. Know that you have the moral and ethical foundation within yourself to make good decisions, and that you have the strength to stand up for others and to also own up to your own mistakes. Civil rights leader Rosa Parks once said, "Believing in yourself takes courage. Facing the future takes hope." Carry both of these things in your heart. As you begin the next phase of your life, think about Rosa Parks' words. With courage and hope in your heart, identify your own set of core values. Live by them. Be true to them and be true to yourself. Become the person you hope to become. There is so much to experience in this world and so much to do. Dream big, live big. We are counting on you. Thank you very much.
Good evening to the families and graduates of the class of 2020. I am happy to share some time with you this evening to celebrate your many accomplishments. On behalf of the entire Magnet School community, I want to congratulate you on this milestone. I hope that you will spend this evening focusing on all the good that has come from the memories of the past 4 years. You deserve to enjoy it. As I was preparing for this evening, I started to think about the role of jets. Jets, unlike ordinary planes, thrive at high altitudes and high speeds. I believe that this is how you have chosen to live your lives. You chose not to settle for the normal, but to reach higher. You chose not to plod along in mediocrity, but to travel in the fast lane, breaking barriers. You have consistently demonstrated an appetite for more, and for this, you should be commended. Don't forget these choices you have made and never settle. I'd also like to remind you that when you chose to come here, you adopted a unique group of peers. It would have been easy to stay local and surround yourself with people who look like you and share your cultural heritage. There is comfort in the known quantities. But you chose to be different. You immersed yourself and your community and have a chance to grow. You left your comfort zone. Every one of you is better off because of the collective experience you have shared. These are the lessons learned by the class of 2020. They did not start in March of this year. They started the day you won the lottery. They are the lessons you will carry with you always. Embrace change, learn from others, and excel. Congratulations. I wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Keep soaring high like a jet, and don't be afraid to wear your mask.
Hello everyone, my name is Katia Fabian and I'm a member of the graduation class of 2020. First, I would like to thank the graduates, families, and staff for attending. To quote Harriet Tubman, always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. I believe we, as a class, have exemplified this statement. Throughout these years, I have seen us discover our individual passions, and we had to be patient to see the final result of who we've become. Whatever our interests may be, we had the strength to commit to them. In the middle of the year, I have seen that we have artists, scientists, athletes, entrepreneurs, activists, and so much more. I come from a family that raised me to pursue my education because they didn't have the opportunity to continue their own. They wanted my siblings and I to have a better life. I think many of us can relate to this and how hard it is to live up to our parents' expectations. You see, like many of you, my dad works more than 2 jobs so he can help pay for my brother's college tuition. And now it's my turn. And my dad can't afford to work another job to help me. There were times where I felt like giving up, but I refused to waste the sacrifice that my parents made for me for the past 18 years. I will be attending University of St. Joseph, majoring in health science. I want my dad to no longer work, and instead, I will take care of him. It took us some time to get where we are, and we wouldn't have gotten here without the friendships we developed among each other. If we go back to the start of our freshman year, we might remember how we all said it was going to be easy. Then, we had obstacles thrown into our life. For example, in my struggles, I couldn't figure out how to balance my personal problems with school. Having undocumented parents, I was always afraid that they could be taken away from me. I needed to be strong for them and for myself. A way that I managed to get through this was to reach out and talk to people who I trust about these sensitive topics. In the end, I learned that my parents did everything for me, and I worked hard to get where I am right now. I want to show everyone that having undocumented parents shouldn't be an obstacle to prevent you from seeking education. You are doing this for you and no one else. Graduates, now that it's time for us to flip the page, and even though we all will be taking separate roads, remember to be patient in finding what you want to become and have the strength to keep on going and not give up. It's our time to reach for the stars. With that, it is my distinct pleasure this evening to introduce the Principal of Academy of Aerospace and Engineering, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Katya. I appreciate your words, and they certainly resonate with me. And at this time, I would like us to all take a moment of silence to remember our former student and friend, Carlonzo Taylor. Thank you. Congratulations to the AAE class of 2020. I am so proud of all of you. Throughout our time apart, graduates, please know how much I have missed all of you. I became a teacher and then a school administrator because it gives me the chance to connect with other human beings around important ideas and to work with all of you to craft and hone a vision for what you want your future and the future of our world to look like. Being distant from all of you since March has been challenging, and it's definitely not the same over Zoom chats and Schoology. I have missed your laughs and your humor. I have missed your energy and your enthusiasm. I have missed all of those things that make our school such a magical and special place. Perhaps most of all, though, I have missed the brilliance of your ideas and the work in which you find and derive passion. AAE students are constantly coming up with brilliant ideas and innovative ideas, and I miss them, and I miss moments like that greatly. I am inspired, however, because I know that your brilliance, your passion, your energy, and your enthusiasm are all areas where each of you is just getting warmed up. Despite the disconnection that we face as a result of this global pandemic, I have an unswerving faith that all of you will go on to do great things. Throughout your time in school and in life thus far, you have developed a strong and broad set of skills and understandings about a variety of topics and interconnected topics. As a STEAM school, we believe that the world can be a safer, healthier, more prosperous, more equitable, and more beautiful place, and that it will become so because of how you use your knowledge and skills to make it so. Technological innovations have paved the way for many positive changes throughout history. This includes radical breakthroughs in medicine, communications, transportation, and energy. Many of these innovations have only been possible because of new understandings developed in the fields of particle physics, computer science, genomics, material science, chemical engineering, and many other areas. Despite this rich history of amazing breakthroughs in STEAM fields, there remains a lot of work to be done, and that is where you come in. The world is in need of a variety of solutions, many of which you AAE graduates have already been working on. Some of the following are included. We desperately need new sources of clean, sustainable energy, and we need to find ways to massively reduce carbon emissions. We need to identify new ways to grow and distribute food to the world's population and our population here in this country. We need to expand our technological infrastructure for communications so that we can transmit massive amounts of data faster and faster every day. And we need to develop building and fabrication materials that are more efficient, more sustainable, and more affordable. And we need to be able to quickly respond to challenging health concerns through the development of treatments, vaccines, and new medicines. All of these are challenges that AAE students, present and former, are working on or will be. Indeed, there are many more, including many, many challenges that we at this time cannot conceive of. Additionally, though, there are skills and traits that you have learned in and out of school that are even more important than the ones I have mentioned so far. If we are truly to build a better world for ourselves and for our posterity, we must wholeheartedly embrace our basic goodness as people. We must harness the power of compassion, empathy, and love. We must be generous with and caring of one another. We must look after our neighbors, near and far. We must take care of the weak, the sick, the young, and the elderly. Graduates, this is my charge to you. Use your skills and knowledge and grow and develop them from there. And please make sure that your heart guides you on that path. I look forward to seeing all of you when it is safe to do so. Congratulations and thank you. And at this time, I would like to welcome Nico McMahon to the stage. He will be performing his rendition of Andy Grammer's A Little Too Much.
Whoa, yeah, whoa. I've been waiting on the sunset, bills on my mindset. I can't deny they're getting high, higher than my income. My income's breadcrumbs. I've been trying to survive. The glow that the sun gives right around sunset helps me realize that this is just a journey. Drop your worries, you are gonna turn out fine. Oh, turn out fine. Fine, oh, you'll turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, oh, you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard, no it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, you can let your head down, hey. I got my hands in my pockets, kicking these rocks. It's kinda hard to watch this life go by. I'm buying into skeptics, skeptics mess with the confidence in my eyes. I'm seeing all the angles, starts to get tangled. I start to compromise my life and the purpose. Is it all worth it? Am I gonna turn out fine? Oh, you'll turn out fine. Fine, oh, you'll turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard, no it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. After rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around again. I said only rainbows. After rain, the sun will always come come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around, but you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you can let your head down. Hey, you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you can let your head down. Hey, I know it's hard. No, it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up. Oh, you can let your head down. Hey, keep your head up. You can let your head down. Keep your head up. You can let your head down. Keep your head up. You can let your head down. I said, oh.
Good evening, Academy of Aerospace and Engineering families, teachers, class of 2020. I'd be remiss not to start off by acknowledging that instead of talking to a crowd of people, I'm talking to a camera and a smiling Mr. Williams in the background. That's one person who will laugh at my jokes during this speech. I'd like to start off by acknowledging the people responsible for this opportunity. Thank you to our administration, Principal Johnson, Vice Principal Brown, Dean Sanborn, and Ms. Gay for facilitating this virtual graduation in a timely manner. I know quite a few people across the country who are not having any type of graduation until June. We're thankful for your hard work. Thank you to all of my teachers for being great people and assisting me in this journey to today. Thank you to my family, especially my parents, Sanja and Jonathan Bell, and my siblings, Joshua and Vanessa Bell, for being my #1 fans and advisors through everything. And thank you to the class of 2020 for being such a supportive group of people. Not everyone is blessed to have such a great group of friends and peers to spend 7 years of middle and high school with. I appreciate you all for electing me to speak to you on this special occasion. During this speech, I will recount a few memories from the years, discuss what the future may hold, and share a few lessons I learned during this high school experience. So, most of us have been together since 6th grade at the Birkin campus in Bloomfield. During this quarantine, I've been biking a lot for exercise, and I've ridden past our old school quite a few times. It looks so much smaller than I remembered. If you don't remember how young we were back then, most of us were shorter than Mrs. Ciccarelli. The school consisted of one square hallway, and all of the classrooms were connected to that loop. If you were lost, just keep walking, and you'd eventually loop back around to where you need to be. In 7th grade, most of our classrooms were windowless for some reason, but we had some really funny teachers like Mr. Canterbury, Mr. Grossner, and Mrs. Smith to brighten the room. 1 year later, and everything is new. All of our classrooms have windows, and we're on the 3rd floor looking over the campus. We really thought we were the kings and queens of the school. But you know, as an 8th grader, that mentality only works for so long until you get on that bus at the end of the day and take that back seat, only to get kicked out by the upperclassmen. But hey, we were running the middle school at least. The next year, we became freshmen and got kicked down the totem pole, just like it was 6th grade all over again. Some kids from the middle school left, but we got new ones that stayed with us till today. In 10th grade, we welcomed quite a few kids from Two Rivers. Despite our preconceived notions about our rival school, the kids who joined us became awesome additions to the grade. And our junior year was difficult. Classes got noticeably harder. And we tragically lost a friend, Carlonzo Taylor. He was a great guy with a bright and shining spirit who unified our entire grade with his humor. May he rest in peace. We ended the year with a prom, which, by the way, I never thought I'd be talking about last year's prom in this speech. And I don't know what to call our senior year. Was it eventful or uneventful? I mean, we had college applications and went on 2 field trips. We thought the good part was yet to come, but it never came. 3 months ago, we effectively ended a senior year, not even knowing that our last day in an actual high school, as high school students had already arrived. But that is not the only thing that makes us a historic class. Think about it. We're the first class of students to be born after 9/11, a day we're told America drastically changed. We're the only class to experience all 8 years of the first black president and 4 years of President Trump. We're the first in the new building to promote from middle school. We were the first in the 21st century to miss all of the best parts of senior year to look forward to, including graduation, an in-person graduation at least. We were the first class to be both respected and clowned on by the entire nation for not having a normal graduation, and I know you all have seen the memes about the class of 2020 graduating on The Sims. UC Berkeley actually streamed their graduation on Twitch and held their ceremony on the Minecraft version of the campus. Whoever came up with the slogan that vision is 2020 for our class, they were lying to us. We'd been looking forward to this year since we started 12 years ago, and we did not see this. But we really do represent a somewhat notable piece of this historical disaster. In all seriousness, this disaster has unfortunately been another source of political partisanship for our nation. But I strongly believe that it is adversity and unrest that brings us together and makes us stronger as Americans. And it is no different for us students at Aerospace. In such a small school, we've had to come together and mourn the passing of 3 students, 1 from our grade. We lived through this new era of domestic terrorism, watching on the news mass shootings every few months. But our school came together. The last 4 years have represented some of the most dangerously polarized times in decades. Even so, as a community, we stand united in the striking image of the aspirations of this nation. In one of the most racially divided states in the country, where most suburban schools are primarily white and Asian, and most urban schools are primarily Black and Hispanic, we represent the results of a landmark Sheff versus O'Neill case filed 30 years ago that allowed for school choice and the creation of racially blended and culturally balanced magnet schools exactly like ours. We are a school of racial unity and progress with excellence everywhere. Our sports teams are consistently represented in conference championships, state tournaments, and regional meets. But who was surprised when we have team leaders like Adriana Moulette-Ramirez, Sabrina Porter, TJ Murray, Kyle Bouchard, and Nia Bentley? Heck, the first Division I athlete from our school comes from our class, Nora Andrews, who will be an equestrian at the University of Georgia this coming year. Our musical and theater groups perform wonderfully for the school every year, especially with actors and musicians like Nico McMahon and Dylan Tower. We have amazing student-led organizations that plan the annual coffee house, heritage, history, and international nights that always highlight the beauty and the differences between our cultures. How can we forget the beautiful singing voices of Gifty Darko or Harsha Balasubramanian? Or our talented dancers, Karen Pruitt, Dante Batchelor, or Gianna Guzzo? Thank you to Ms. Manby, Mrs. Wright, and all of the other organizers of events just like these that make our school bright and beautiful. We have a killer robotics team that is well known throughout the state for their performance in competitions and community outreach. This year's team will be remembered by the Core Hex leadership team, that's what they called it. And it was made up of Niklesh Sivakumar, Richard Balamurgan, Nithila Anadurai, Rashana Anadurai, Andrea Lacunza, Avani Satish, and Aditya Awasti. That's a lot of people on the leadership team, but it clearly worked out. They did really great. We have a strong debate and Model United Nations team that sometimes sweeps the leaderboards at the end of tournaments. Shout out to Ben Keelty and Gianna Guzzo, who are co-captains with me this year, and thank you to Mr. Williams for putting it all together. We have a growing and remarkable research program with an increasingly diverse group of students. In the last 3 years alone, our school has seen the most students, myself included, has sent them to the International Science and Engineering Fair out of any public or private school in the state. As a side note, thanks to the help of Dr. Bellinger, Dr. Romley, and Mr. Murdor for their great mentorship that allowed us to get to where we are. Our labs earn many thousands of dollars from the Connecticut Science and Engineering Fair every year. My partner Devish and I alone in the last 2 years cashed in over $5,000 in prize money. So our school really does great things every single year, but ours is the best. Admittedly, we have more progress to make, and our school is not perfect. We need more diversity in honors and AP classes, and we need to have better integration of ethnic groups in the school. And as we obtain greater levels of diversity, we have to maintain high levels of academic standards. But even so, we are a school that represents the best of this nation's ideals. We represent it because even though we are not fully there yet, we strive to provide equal opportunity for all. We strive to provide a place where everybody feels represented. And as a class, we can be proud of our work in the last 4 years to make AAE a better place, and we can be sure that this school was advanced to a better place because of our presence and leadership. So today, we're doing a virtual graduation as a celebration of our past work. 4 years of high school and everything that comes with it, completed. Let's go. But this celebration also comes with the inherent beginning of a life yet to come. We're the first graduates of a new decade. These next 20 years are going to bring a lot of change. Heck, even the next 5 months will decide the outcome of an election and choose between drastically different trajectories of our nation. We're coming to a slow head with an increasingly strong China. Globalization, coupled with a growing political radicalism, is causing instability in countries around the world. We may start to personally experience the scary projected effects of a changing climate. But also, the children of the 21st century are coming of age. We will discover and develop revolutionary new technologies that can improve our health and quality of life. We are already diving headfirst in a new era of space exploration and discovering the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. We hope to use the internet in ways that interconnect the country and create shared experiences that unify, not divide. So with that being said, what will be your role in the future? You can choose to be almost anything you want. Do you want to make it to the big leagues of politics and develop public policy for our nation? Do you want to be a local hero in your community, saving lives on the daily as a cop, fireman, or medical responder? Do you want to settle into a good job and start a family, giving them the best life you can? Or do you want to travel the world and learn about all of the different cultures that make up our planet? And let's not forget that you can be like the many life-changing teachers in our school, developing and guiding the leaders of the next generation. It's not like we're short of talent. No. Our class is filled with brilliant and talented individuals like Miaja Edney, who will surely awe communities and spark social change with her outstanding artwork. And people like Trevor Burnett, whose expertise in computer science and mathematics will be integral to the creation of technologies we haven't even dreamed of. And if you haven't yet found your calling, you're sure to go far with the educational and social foundations acquired from this great institution. You may not know what you want to do now, and that's fine. But whatever goals you set for yourself, work your hardest at achieving them. Most of us have a limited time on this earth. Make the best of it and never, ever forget that you are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. So as we say goodbye for now and split to our separate ways of putting our all into pursuing the best futures and versions of ourselves, I want to share a few lessons that I hope will guide you on your way. These lessons, which were not immediately evident to me, stem from reflection upon shared experiences with a few of our teachers. As an underclassman, I had the privilege of being a student under Miss Olivia Hussey. She was my Spanish teacher for 2 years, as well as my homeroom advisor while I was a sophomore. As anyone who was on the second floor high school wing knows, Miss Hussey's room is a popular place to be during homeroom. It seemed obvious that people like to be in Miss Hussey's room, but if you asked me at that time, I couldn't tell you why. In retrospect, Miss Hussey creates an environment where people feel heard. People tell her their problems because she gives every indication that she cares about what you have to say and what is going on in your life. People feel good about being in her room because they feel like they matter. We can all take a page from her book in this era of social media, where more and more of our world is becoming superficial. Do not listen to others with an intent to reply, but with an intent to understand. This will really become valuable to remember as we step up to the plates as future leaders. According to President Roosevelt, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So don't be afraid to show people that you care. Miss Lori Sinlin is adept at showing people she cares. Miss Sinlin shares a special place in our class as we started our journeys at AAE in the same year. She has been with us since 6th grade till now, always a beacon of light. She was one of the first people everyone got to know in 6th grade because she would sing and dance in the hallways and brighten up the day. In the old school, she would take care of the students as the student resource officer, And at the new school, she made the library the special place that students see it as today. Every type of student talks to Miss Sinlin in the library, where she will check in on your life and do anything she can to help. A good portion of the events that are organized have Miss Sinlin's hand in them, always offering a way to help her set up. She makes sure that the library is available after school for kids that need it, which has been a supportive place for many students in all grades. She really is one of the unsung heroes in our school, constantly working to make our school a better place in all ways. Thank you, Ms. Sinlin, the Loud Librarian, for all of the caring and effort that goes into making this school a better place for all of us students to come to every single day. So the second lesson I want you to take away is, repeat after me, metacognition. Just kidding. Anyone who took Mr. Sokolowski's class would have laughed and remembered the large one-word poster in the front of his room above the smartboard. Metacognition, the awareness of one's own thought processes, was the common theme remembered by students of Mr. Sokolowski's Principles in Engineering class. But how many of you remember the integrity sign? Right next to the metacognition sign at the top of the room. In my opinion, that is the sign most representative of Mr. Sokolowski in that class. He always held us accountable for our actions. Some people, teachers included, were not a fan of his strict teaching style, but he was mostly fair and just and expected personal integrity on the part of each of us. Out of the chaos of that hallway, rowdy classmates would get their act together when approaching Sokko's room because they knew they would be held to account. So from today onward, take actions that hold yourself and those around you to account. As Napoleon Hill once stated, when you are able to maintain your highest standards of integrity, regardless of what others may do, you are destined for greatness. And according to Jonathan Bell, me, whether or not you achieve that greatness, when we're old and looking back on our lives, we can be proud of the actions we've taken, knowing that they were conducted from a place of high moral character. So finally, no matter what happens during your time on this earth, don't ever forget the novelty of your life. Relish in the beauty of the small things, the smell of the outside when it rains, the pain in your muscles when you work out, the gripping hold music can take on your emotions. And I know it can be hard to remember when we get into the sometimes boring routine of the day-to-day. But we're all lucky to be here. According to Business Insider, the chances of your parents meeting is 1 in 20,000. If we take into account all of your ancestors meeting, and the chances of the earth existing, and the chances of every other coincidence that has brought you into existence, we get 1 in 10 to the 45,000th power. Basically 0. But importantly, not 0, as we're all here right now. You yourself are a modern-day miracle. We don't even know why we exist, but we do. So cash in that lottery ticket of life and make the best of the opportunity you have. Love the journey. Don't wait another 4 years to look back and say, oh, wow, life is really good. No, appreciate the small moments, all of the laughs we've had together, the hilarious moments with our teachers, all of the times we've grown together about a test or an unnecessary homework assignment. The field days, the field trips, the assemblies, we're all a part of each other's journey. So to conclude, number 1, care more, love more. Hold integrity first and keep those and yourself around you accountable. And number 3, no matter what, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Love life. 2 weeks from today, I will be quarantined at the United States Air Force Academy, starting my basic cadet training. Even though I'm taking the next step of my path very soon, it won't be a permanent goodbye. We should all stay connected on social media and keep in touch occasionally. I love you all, and I wish you all the best for a fruitful and abundant life ahead of you. Congratulations, class of 2020. Let's go. Now, I would like to introduce our next musical act, Emily No, who will be performing her rendition of Yesterday by the Beatles.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Thank you, Emily. That was a lovely performance. Now, please join me in welcoming graduating senior Kyle Bashard.
Good evening, fellow peers, family members, and faculty of the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering community. First off, to all the members of the class of 2020, I want to say congratulations. We made it. We can finally check that box on a job application saying we have a high school diploma and venture off into our future endeavors, be it the military, college, or for many, directly into the workforce. Before we celebrate, though, we all owe a moment to thank those who have made this day possible for us. To the administration at AAE, thank you for providing a vision for our school and overseeing our journey to becoming graduates. To all of our teachers, staff, and faculty, thank you for the mentorship you have provided us, the knowledge you have bestowed upon us, and the life-changing lessons you have ingrained in us. To our families, the unconditional love you have provided us over these past 12 years of school has been pivotal to our success, and your unconditional love has shaped us into the young men and women we all are. To all of us, graduates, thank you for supporting each other along this journey. Although this path wasn't easily traversed, the guidance all of you mentioned have provided made this journey possible, so thank you all. Class of 2020, we are part of a unique group of people who were born into the grief from the tragedy of 9/11 and are graduating in the midst of a pandemic. Two of our biggest milestones this far have been marred by conflict. Many of you have had family or friends who have been affected by this crisis. Some of you may have lost your jobs, had your internships revoked, or your plans for next year became just a little more clouded. My heart and my condolences go out to all of you. I urge you all to harness the sadness and the pain that you may be feeling and leverage those emotions to strive for the changes that you want to see in the world. These setbacks are merely temporary, and there is indeed a light at the end of the tunnel. This does not change the fact that we are still in the thick of this issue, and we'll likely be feeling the effects of it for a long time to come. Yet despite everything that is seemingly wrong among society right now, if we keep a goal in our mind, hold conviction in our hearts, maintain hope, and work hard, we will be able to accomplish what we set out to. If there is anything I have realized while reflecting on my time at AAE, it is that high school is a microcosm of life. Undoubtedly, it's missing a few characteristics of adulthood, like a bill for the rent that's due in 2 weeks. However, high school, for all of us, has been full of ups and downs, stress, late nights, relationships that have come and gone, and friendships that have stood the test of time. It has put inequality on display. Some people in this audience have over an hour bus ride home every day. They go to work until 10 o'clock at night to help support their family, come home to a load of homework, and wake up at 5 a.m. to do it all again. Unfortunately, life is not fair. However, never forget that we all have the tools necessary to create the future we want. To quote a book that many of you may have read during high school, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, we can't choose where we come from, but we can choose where we go from there. With 2 hands and a mind, know that your dreams can be conceived. Learn to love the journey and let the hard work invigorate you. And remember that your work ethic is the one differentiating factor that no one can take away. I want to share some statistics I found with you all. Did you know that as a person born on Earth, you have a 17% chance of being born in a developed nation? This means that you live in a country with a solid infrastructure and relatively easy access to health care. Only 60% of people in this world have access to clean water and a working toilet, something which most of us, if not all of us, take for granted every single day. Only 65% of children born have a birth certificate. Essentially, 1 out of 3 children born around the world go unrecorded, stripping them of their legal identity, public service essentials, and their nationality. This means for those 1 out of 3 children, it is challenging, if not impossible, to receive an education, have access to health care, and have a legal identity. Lastly, the chances of being born in the United States, only 4.5%. I say this not to understate the major inequalities in this country, which are undoubtedly real, Rather, I say this as a beacon of hope, that we are all fortunate to be living in a time and in a place where your dreams can be achieved. The road to whatever type of success you desire will likely be long, full of many bumps and sharp turns. However, with some risk and a whole lot of hard work, we can all achieve what we set our minds on in life. With that said, the most important lesson I've learned during my time at AAE is to maintain empathy for those who are less fortunate than me. A lesson which you all have taught me best. It is more valuable than anything I could have learned in the classroom. This lesson made me realize that my definition of success is not only a measure of my personal achievement, rather I want it to be a measure of how many people I am able to help alongside me. As I'm sure most of you can relate, I vividly remember that first day of 6th grade when walking down the aisle of the yellow school bus to find, with the exception of a few, a bunch of people I didn't know. This was magnified by a factor of 10 when I arrived at aerospace and found myself in a place where I no longer looked like everyone and knew no one. Before this moment, all of my time in school and the majority of my life had been spent in a bubble. I was surrounded by people who looked like me, talked like me, and thought like me. This was starkly contrasted by the melting pot of the Birkin campus cafeteria for which I was now standing in. And from that day on, I had the privilege of meeting and becoming friends with people of all different races, ethnicities, orientations, and backgrounds. An experience for which I do not take for granted and has completely reshaped my character. Although we may not have realized it at the time, more so than any class we have taken, the environment of our school is what has best prepared us for the world that lies ahead. We are living in a time where you can call anyone in the world in a matter of seconds, and global interconnectedness is only on the rise. It is my belief that it is currently and will only become more essential that we are comfortable and skilled in working with people who do not look like, act like, or talk like us. We have had the advantage of growing up in an environment filled with people who are different from us. I urge you all to remember the stories that you have heard from your friends and continue to listen and learn from those who are different from you, as it will inevitably make us all better people. The last thing I'd like to discuss with you all is the idea of hope. As Elon Musk once said, "I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right." I agree with Elon. For being hopeful allows us to approach situations and problems through a whole new lens, ultimately establishing a mindset that is suitable for success. It becomes more likely that you will accomplish your goals if you maintain hope that you can succeed, rather than not believing in yourself and, as a result, in some way setting yourself up for failure. Hope is part of nearly all great success stories. Just think about the light bulb, one of the greatest inventions ever that completely reshaped the face of this world. Thomas Edison had 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at creating the light bulb, till he finally succeeded. It is my belief that we owe it to this world to attempt to leave it in a better place than when we entered. To do that, we will all need to be just as hopeful as Thomas Edison was, because the challenges in this world are daunting and serious. However, don't be too intimidated, because if there's one thing I have learned about hope, it is that it is contagious. Sometimes all it takes is one person to inspire a group, a city, a country, or even the whole world. And all of you have the power to be that one person. Class of 2020, our journey has been shaped by some of the greatest challenges in recent times, like pressures from the creation of new media platforms, political polarization, and major inequality, on top of all the struggles that we have faced as individuals in our personal lives. Despite all these issues and many more, we have endured. And I can assure you all that if you maintain empathy for those less fortunate, remain hopeful, and work incredibly hard, you will be well on your way to leading the life you desire, and making this world a better place. I couldn't be more proud to stand alongside you all today, in spite of all of our struggles, and say that we are all finally graduates. Remember that you are all unique and all exceptional, and I wish each of you the best along your journey. It is with great pleasure that I would now like to introduce to the stage Mr. Jonathan Williams as our student-nominated faculty speaker. Thank you all.
Hello, wow, you all look great today, is what I would say if I could see you. I'm pumped up for you guys to finish, but hold on, you have a little bit more until you're done. Fellow faculty, Mr. Johnson and the administration, Dr. Florio and Mr. Sullivan, friends and family, and of course, ladies and gentlemen of the graduating class of 2020, thank you for having me speak today. I've taught most of you at least once, many of you twice, and quite a few of you 3 times. I've also coached some of you on 8th grade cross country, debate and Model UN teams, and we've gone to DC together. That connection, combined with the circumstances that we find ourselves in, and I'm truly honored and humbled to be here. This time period is like no other. These circumstances that we find ourselves in are unique, and no other generation has experienced anything quite like this. And this pandemic has unfairly impacted you at a time when you're supposed to be going through certain rites of passage, like prom or senior class trip. It has ripped from you these experiences and left you to grapple with the aftermath. For that, I'm very sorry. We all feel for you, and we are here for you, and we wish it could be wholeheartedly different. But I really believe that there'll be some sort of silver lining. As I was reflecting on this speech, the magnitude of the time, and what I wanted to convey, I thought about an idea that some of you might have heard me talk about in class. History is his story, but it might not be that guy's story or that woman's story. It is a perspective written by someone objectively, but still from someone's point of view. You get to frame how this time period will be for you and future generations and how they will examine this. So this mystery we're in is actually my story, your story. Jay-Z said in the song Renegade, "No, I chose my own fate. I drove by the fork in the road and went straight." In other words, you are at a crossroads right now, but you get to make your own path to these circumstances, and it can start right now. Rage Against the Machine, another band, said, "It has to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?" So do the best you can to write your story, since it's your mystery. And another thing that I thought of in reflecting on this is that this might be the biggest event thus far in your life, but it won't be the only event. In college, a professor I had gave a speech to our class right before the final exams. And he said, "How long will you all live?" We all kind of looked around and were like, "What? That's an awkward question." And no one really said anything. So he went on and he said, "Well, the average person lives about 80 years. That's a long time to accomplish what you want. There will be ups and downs. There will be highs and lows, but it's a long time. So go back to your room and study your butt off for this exam, but know that this one test won't define the rest of your life." When he said that, it took a huge amount of pressure off because I realized that he was right. Not one thing, event, or circumstance define me solely, and I get to determine how that event is perceived. Same with you all. You get to create your story out of this, but there are lessons you've learned from your time in high school that can help you, and that's what I'd like to illuminate for you. So when Ms. Gay told me I was going to be the speaker, I was excited, kind of like I am now. But then I quickly thought to myself, uh-oh, now you're going to have to speak. See, there are a couple of things I realized were going to be really tough for me. For instance, sometimes when I get up in front of a crowd, I get really nervous and I gag. I never throw up, but I gag as if I was going to. I bet you didn't know that before class sometimes I actually heaved. Like if there was a new project that I was giving out, I would sometimes start choking beforehand. Also, my knees would start wobbling sometimes. And lastly, this is a huge speech with a lot writing on it. And I know this might be surprising since I'm the debate and Model UN coach, but it's true. I realized, though, that if I was going to make this speech, I had to conquer those fears. I had to put them behind me and do my best in life. Because one is constantly faced with obstacles, and one must find a way to get around them. For instance, you were all faced with not being able to use your phone during class, but you found a way to keep snapping and texting away. Sometimes you got your phone taken away, but that didn't matter. You stuck with it. Now you won't have to hide it. You're a graduate from high school. Congrats, you can text anywhere now. On a serious note, though, one big obstacle is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of being the wrong height or the wrong weight or the wrong this or the wrong that. But fear has only as much credibility as we give it. In other words, we can choose to listen to fear, or we can tell ourselves that this is just an obstacle to get around. I could have made excuse not to give this speech because of all the things that I told you about. But I knew if I let one fear conquer me, then others would follow. In high school, you were all faced with the fear of failure. You all at one point did not receive the grade you wanted or get on the team or something, but you chose to continue. Heck, this time period could be looked at as a setback. You could have given up, but you chose to rise up and conquer. This Nike quote sums up what you did. All your life, you will be told the things you cannot do. All your life, you will be told you're not good enough or strong enough or talented enough. They will tell you no 1,000 times, no, until all the no's become meaningless. They will tell you no, and you will tell them yes. Well, you already told them yes already. And continuing with this theme, I gotta be honest with you actually. This is the second speech I wrote. I wrote the first speech, practiced several times, and was ready to print it off, but when I went to get it, it wasn't there. In fact, my whole flash drive with all my school stuff on it was gone. I know, you're probably thinking like, didn't you back it up? Nope. I freaked out. I panicked at this failure and stupidity. How could I be so idiotic, I thought to myself, to not save it somewhere else? I spent $200 trying to recover the info, and I recovered a lot of it, but not this speech. After I calmed down, I thought of this idea about failure from Michael Jordan. And he said, people should find fuel in any failure. He goes on to say that the greatest inventions in the world had hundreds of failures before the answers were found. So as you continue in life, take the lesson of overcoming obstacles that you learned in high school and continue to beat them. Even if you have a challenge, keep setting goals and trying to reach. You've already proven that you can conquer setbacks in your mystery. Another important lesson that you learned in high school and that builds on failure is that your minds and your bodies are capable of more than you think. When I was running across the United States, a story many of you guys know, I never thought I would have been able to run 56 miles in one day, but I did because I had to. That day was inspired by a guy I met in Arizona who had cerebral palsy. He asked me about my run and then told me how his belief was that he could always overcome challenges and rise above any limitations. He might not be able to do it the same way as everyone else, but he'd find a way. And I thought to myself, geez, if that is this guy's attitude, I can certainly put one foot in front of another. And we've got tons of people at our school with similar mindsets. Think about the brave teachers we have here who have battled and conquered illness, some undergoing chemo and serving as an inspiration to us all. And some of you have battled unbelievable odds to get here. Several of you have tackled illness, disease, allergies, rising to heights that illustrate the exact point I'm trying to make. And some of you weren't born in this country and had to adapt to a new culture, even learn a new language. I mean, think about the guts that takes to be the young kid in a class where you don't understand everything happening, but still persevere. Also, I know that some of you are the first to graduate from high school, and some are the first to go to college. There were times where you could have said, screw it, because it got so difficult, but you didn't. You triumphed. That same mental determination can be applied to this new mystery that we're in, this pandemic. Although you are the ones who ultimately got you here, you couldn't have done it alone. There was your family, teachers, friends, coaches, religious leaders, and others. Their generosity has made things possible that might not be achievable otherwise. Tell them how much you appreciate what they did for you. A thank you never goes unnoticed. And that's one of the things that impresses me the most about your class, is you actually do thank people. I've received thank you cards from you, and I've seen you give them to others. Just look at what AJ did on the last time we were all together. He thanked all of you for being his friend. And in this pandemic, we've seen that spirit as you've expressed gratitude to teachers and to each other, and it certainly is appreciated. We've got your back as you go forward, but make sure you pay it forward as well. There is a movie by the same name, Pay It Forward, that is about a middle school boy who creates a class project in which he does 3 good things for people. And instead of asking to be paid back, he asked them to pay it forward, thus creating a wave of goodwill. So maybe you're not in a position to pay back the people who helped you, so pay it forward when you're able to. One other lesson that is important that we're all reminded of is how precious life is. In your short time at AAE, we have been through multiple tragedies. I still remember 9th grade US history and Carlonzo coming in with the biggest smile that made everyone else feel happy. His loss was awful and something we'll never get over. We also lost other members of the community. Brianna, Abby, Eric, Tashanel were all taken before their time. Many of you have lost loved ones, some during this pandemic, and that suffering is real and unexplainable. This has shown us that we must live every day to the fullest. We must cherish our friends and family. Here's a quote that I reflect on whenever I've been through a tragedy. This is the beginning of a new day. I have been given this day to use as I will. What I do today is important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something that I have traded for it. I want it to be gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not regret the price I paid for it. Because we never know what the plan is for us, I encourage you all to live every day to the fullest and achieve your goals. But in order to fully achieve goals, perspective is important. My high school cross-country coach, who was a big reason why I got into teaching, believed in PMA, positive mental attitude. The idea is that every situation can be looked at through multiple angles, and we choose our mindset in tackling it. So we should find the positive in it. He acknowledged that awful things happen, and there are terrible situations, but he encouraged his athletes to reframe negative thoughts. Many of you know that my mother passed away from cancer when I was about your age, and this idea of PMA was integral in me coping with the loss. My coach eventually also passed away from cancer as well, but he would say that his sickness gave him an opportunity to reach out to people he hadn't talked to in a while. I mean, I was always amazed at his positive outlook until the very end. So as you tackle this pandemic, this mystery we're in, know that you can do it and we're here to help you. Before I leave you though, I want to give you a tiny bit more advice. However, this advice is not from me, it's actually from you. When I had most of you in class, I had you write message to yourself after you listened to Baz Luhrmann's Sunscreen song that was like basically advice for graduates. And I told you you'd get that advice at graduation. So this is a random sampling of advice that you wrote to yourself. Life is pretty rad. I love you, Mom and Dad. Get jacked, stay woke. Don't procrastinate. I hope you learn how to cook, play piano, and skate. School over, ladies. No boys' lessons learned. Continue with art and graffiti. Make moves, now you heard. I hope I am still close to my best friends. I don't know where I would be without them. Keep your work consistent. Make a mark for your children. Febreze is very important for the shirt you use for b-ball shooting. Do better than you did this year. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I shouldn't be hung up on little things. It happens for a reason. You might feel like you have to get straight A's, have a girlfriend, or win a competition, but you need to chill once in a while. I'll give you permission. Drink water. Eat pineapples. Learn Spanish. Handwrite your letters. Always stick with your friends to the end. We in this together forever. Always stick with get to know your parents. Travel much. Get fit. My name means nothing in 100 years unless I change it. I like what Baz Luhrmann said about not messing too much with your hair. Now it's time to end this ramen advice that's cutting through the air. See, you have all learned so much about the world, and you've turned into young men and women instead of little boys and girls. You've overcome obstacles and setbacks, and now you're ready to commence and go on the attack. I'm humbled and honored that I know you, because each one of you has the mental weapons to go global. And here's the last piece of advice from one of your classmates, and it's from Carlonzo Taylor. He wrote, "Don't worry about what people think of you. I'm gonna keep messing with my hair. All these qualities I'm gonna live by. Stay focused." So this is for you, Carlonzo. There we go. Seniors, take out the envelope I gave you. In it, you'll see there is advice you wrote to yourself, a copy of the random advice and a copy of my speech. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the best. And so as Jim Carrey said as Burbank Truman in the movie The Truman Show, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through, that I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
You know we started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Let me tell you.
When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Thank you very much to all of the graduating student speakers, and thank you also very much to Mr. Williams for your speech. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Miss Elizabeth Gay and Miss Amanda Avery, who will read the names of our graduating seniors.
The Academy of Aerospace and Engineering High School is proud to present the following candidates to you this evening. Adam Akbarzai. Luis Javier Alvarado. Nathan Andrews. Nora Francis Andrews. Nathila Anadurai. Rashawn Anadurai. Jeremy Josuel Arce Cruz. Aditya Awasti. Jacob Baez. Richa Balamurugan. Harsha Balasubramanian. Dante Batchelor. Kyle Bouchard. Philip Beckwith. Jonathan Sharif Bell II. Nell Yadiel Benitez. Naya Elise Bentley. Isaiah Bernard. Nathaniel Bloss. Joseph Bode. Cameron Bohm. Jean-Luc Bourget. Jaden Brooks. Alexander Brown. Trevor Brunette. Keneal Conrad Byfield. Stephanie Castro. Tyler Catania. Aiden Crispus. Victoria Cooper. Gifty B. Darku. Amanda Delgado. Miaja Jada Edney. Katia Fabian. Nashali Vanessa Feliciano. Marcus Freeman Hyman. Ethan R. Funk. Justin David Gonzalez. Ethan Goodman. Leilani Guzman. Gianna Rose Guzzo. Javon Hainsley. Ziane Haldane. Brendan Hunter. Eden KJ Hyatt. Brooklyn Jenkins. Devish Kakar. Benjamin Kilty.
Mark Kovalewski. Adam De Jesus Labar. Andrea Lacunza. Isaiah Lumpkin. Avery Joel Martindale. Nicholas Joseph McMahon. Athar Mahmood. Zachary Morin. Adriana Mulet Ramirez. Deanna Muna. Troylyn Murphy. Michael Murray. Tamaya Murray. Roberto Negron Sostre. Vanessa Newlin. Emily No. Sienna Emil Noble. Gregory Nowinski. Ahmed Omar. Xavier Otero. Aditya Patil. Jamal Tyree Peart. Margarita Perez. Vaughn Peverly. Ian Pitticelli. Sabrina Porter. Kaimani Powell. Corinne Pruitt. Christopher Reed. Owen C. Roberts. Edgar Gabriel Rodriguez. Nicholas Christopher Rosado. Harold Jr. Sajus. Eric Lee Samuda. Avanish Satish. Justin Isaiah Sagara. Elijah Semide. Gil Serrano, AJ Sharma, Niklesh Siva Kumar, Danielle Shumsky, Torik Taylor, Waveris Thomas, Dylan Tower, Tyrell Van Riel, Jose A. Vasquez, Leonice Velasquez, Jude Watson, Jared Wheeler, Samuel Yencho. Please join me in welcoming graduating senior Nico McMahon for the closing remarks and the turning of the tassels.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nico McMahon, and I'm a senior here at AAE. And it is my great pleasure to be here with you today. So first, I'd like to start with a simple thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone who is in attendance today for viewing this virtual commencement ceremony. Thank you to our student speakers and performers. Thank you to all of the students, staff, friends, and families for coming together in the midst of this unprecedented time. Thank you to all of the people who have helped us along the way. And now, I would like to personally address all of my fellow graduates. Dear class of 2020, we made it. We're finally here at this moment that we've been waiting to reach for longer than we can remember. In a way, it's kind of funny to think that just a few years ago, we were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed kids ready to take on high school. Since that time, we've faced growing challenges, new giants, every step of the way, yet we still made it. We survived every math class. We finished every lab. We powered through the writer's block to finish that one paper and walked those halls every day with a sense of purpose that someday we would make it right here for this moment. Just the fact that we can share this moment together, albeit not physically together, is a stone-hard testament to the fact that we are resilient. We persevered. We put in the effort to pursue our passions and reach new heights, because that's what AAE students do. Whatever your plans are after high school, wherever you go, whether you end up right next to home or on the other side of the globe, if you end up anywhere, this is the time for us to prove to ourselves that we can change the world. But let's not sugarcoat it. Our generation will have to confront the issues our predecessors couldn't solve. We will be the ones to take in the helm in the fight for social progress and steer our society towards greater equality. We're the generation that will feel the brunt of the effects of man-made climate change. We are the generation that will end the culture of gun violence in America. We are the generation that will confront the student debt crisis and tackle issues that burden our society. We are the ones who will tackle the issues of immigration reform, gender equality, LGBTQ+ equality, racial equality, healthcare accessibility, and countless others. If our time at AAE has taught us anything, it is that our voices need to be louder than ever. That is exactly why now is the time to be unapologetically loud, because our bright futures depend on it. We will face giant after giant after giant, but that's just what we do. We're fighters. We're doers, we're thinkers, and we're trailblazers most of all. And all of the teachers who pushed us to be better, all of our families who gave us a hard time because of that one chemistry test you failed back in that class. And, you know, high school and life afterwards, it's pretty daunting, especially when the road to success is not clear-cut. However, when life provides us a truly momentous crossroads such as this, I'm certain that we have what it takes to choose to forego the road less traveled and instead forge our own path ahead into the future. Graduates, congratulations. I wish you all the best in the years to come. I hope to see all of you at the 10-year reunion, because that's going to be so much fun. Sincerely, one of your fiercest supporters. And now, everyone, without further ado, would all of the graduates please stand? Yes, actually stand up. As a symbol of your passage, from one phase of your lives to another. Please now turn your tassels from right to left. Everyone, it is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you the class of 2020. Congratulations.
And at this time, it is my distinct pleasure to announce that all of your diplomas are official and certified to meet the graduation requirements of both the state of Connecticut and the crack magnet schools. Congratulations, everyone. You are high school graduates.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shauna Brown, and I am the assistant principal at the Keck Academy of Aerospace and Engineering. It is my pleasure this evening to say to the class of 2020, congratulations. You made it. I wish you the very best as you go out into this world and continue to make it a better place. Thank you to all of our staff at AAE who have poured into all of our students and have helped to give them the tools they need in order to pursue their dreams. To all of our parents and guests, thank you for all of your support over the years, as it has truly been our pleasure to have your young people in our care. And finally, thank you to the Keck Communications Department, who has helped to make this production possible. On behalf of AAE, thank you to all of our guests for attending our virtual graduation ceremony this evening. Please stay safe.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations, class of 2020. Congratulations. So proud of you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
This is everybody.
We're so proud. So proud. Congratulations. You did it.